Hey guys, what's up? It's Jessie. So this is the Draw My Life video. It was a lot harder than I thought, but anyways, I was born on March 6th, 1989 to my dad Warren, my mom Cindy, and yeah. They wanted me, so that was pretty awesome, but my brother definitely did not. His name's Jacob. He didn't like me. My brother is about 7 years older than me, and I know that drawing makes him look like he's some redneck with a mullet, but anyways, he really did not like me, and I think that's probably because I was kind of like the golden child, and he was definitely not, so yeah, he hated me. Or at least treated me like he did, but, you know, I guess that's how older brothers are. My dad made a lot of money in his job. And because of that, we were able to have a really awesome house and afforded me to go to a really well-to-do Christian preschool. But that really upset my bubby because she wanted me to be a good little Jewish girl. um, Needless to say, that didn't really turn out. But while growing up, there were a lot of kids, and I just never really made friends with any of them. I don't know why. I was just kind of in my own head and not really making friends, and it made me sad because I didn't know what my issue was. But in first grade, I met this girl named Desiree. We had to all line up against the wall and meet the new girl. And when I met her, she had Donald Duck earrings on, and I was so amazed by them that I was just like, yep, that's my best friend. So we were friends from first grade all the way to senior year. So that was pretty spectacular. We'd always go to her house and blast music and make little music videos and dance and make choreography and um, just record ourselves doing really stupid stuff like infomercials and just, I don't know. But I guess that's kind of how I got my start with YouTube, but kind of like a baby version. But Desiree was so popular with the boys, like she was loved by all of them and everybody had a crush on her, and she was so cool, and I don't know, like every guy was her friend and none of them were mine. I was kind of just there because I was her friend, and they didn't really like me because I don't know, because I wasn't skinny and a fiery redhead. But anyways, I had a really bad self-esteem, and I just thought I was fat and ugly, no one likes me, and that's just how it was gonna be. During that time, my mom and my dad were fighting a lot about me and my brother and finances and whatever else they could fight about, and it was really chaotic, and it was just bad all around, and I became resentful of my mom because I'm like, why can't you do the things dad wants you to so we can be happy? But that's not how it really was. Anyways, they ended up separating, and my dad stayed at my bubby's house and my mom stayed at our house, and I just kind of got passed around every other weekend, and it made me sad, and it tore me up, really. Eventually, they filed for divorce, and that brought along a bunch of things like me talking to lawyers, being taken out of class, my family just going absolutely crazy with more drama than necessary, and me just being stuck in the middle and having to choose sides, and it just wasn't fair, especially because I was only 9 at this time. Eventually, my bubby actually passed away, and that really destroyed my dad, and he had to move out of her house and ended up getting reacquainted with his high school sweetheart, who is not much of a sweetheart at all. Her name is Chris, and I absolutely hate her. I drew her to look evil because she is a junkie, and I do not like her. She's drunk, a drug addict, and she got my dad into his old ways of heroin and alcohol and all of the bad stuff. So eventually all of those bad habits landed him in the hospital, and he had had a previous liver transplant, and because of my bubby passing away and all of his bad influences, he stopped taking his medication and then got into, you know, all his bad habits. So he was on medication in there and started saying things like, "I'll meet you down in the casino," and that totally confused my mom. But my mom and I would visit him any chance that we got. I would, you know, stay out of school and show up after, before, whatever, during school just to see him, but it was just tragic. Eventually, at one point, he was really cold, so we were trying to keep his feet warm, and he passed away, and I was destroyed. We were all destroyed. And that was February 23rd of 1999. Now, fast forward like about a week, and it is March 6th, 1999, not 89, and that's my 10th birthday. At this point, I was still just emotionally wrecked from losing my dad, and I mean, how do you celebrate your 10th birthday when you just lost your dad? I was just devastated. And because of that devastation and not really having control, I just kind of went crazy and lost it a little bit. And even though I was so young, I was having thoughts of anger and suicide and hurt and just wondering, why me? Once I got into junior high, I joined choir and quickly realized that this is where I belonged. I made friends. I found a freedom in music. I celebrated, you know, just singing, and I found out that I was actually talented in singing, and I got a lot of solos and praise and just completely found a love for the art. And at one point, I actually made my mom cry with one of my solos because she didn't know I had that in me, and so I was really proud of myself. During that time, my mom started dating, and she met this guy named Jose. He was kind of a cool guy, I guess. I mean, he was nice to my mom, but something about him, I just was not a fan. But apparently she was. Anyways, that's me in the middle giving him a friggin' death stare. That's my rays of anger going at him. They lasted for about 9 years. Wow, really? Let me just acknowledge how I can't spell. Anyways, they lasted for 9 years and eventually broke up, and that made me happy. Once I got into high school, I made 2 really awesome friends, Maria and Donald, and we were inseparable. We even at one point for high school dressed up as the Sanderson sisters. Donald was Winifred, and he just pulled it off. It was just awesome. He decked it out and all this kind of stuff. And then Maria was Sarah, which I was not happy about because I wanted to be Sarah. Anyways, Maria was Sarah and I was Mary, and I wasn't happy about it, but hey, somebody had to be Mary. Anyways, we ended up getting first place in a Halloween contest, and I was thrilled. Eventually, I stepped out of the choir geek kind of persona and joined a band. I'm not going to tell you the name because honestly, I really hope you guys can't find any of the stuff that I sang because I was just like, oh, so young and I could have done so much better. But anyways, I was in the band and we ended up getting first place for Battle of the Bands, even though that looks like Paddle of the Bands. And eventually I re-met this boy named Tommy. I knew him from junior high, but we weren't really anything until about 10th grade. Anyways, he was a long-haired rocker boy and he totally stole my heart. And There are more videos about him, more specifically about how I lost my virginity to him, and also the abusive relationship that we had, and you can go ahead and click those two links to learn the real story of those. But just to kind of briefly talk about that, Tommy and my relationship was really abusive. Physically, mentally, emotionally, all of it. And it started bringing up a lot of my insecurities and really hurting me. That relationship lasted about 3 years, and I know I should have gotten out of that a lot sooner. But once that was over, I was in college and had no idea what I wanted to do with my life and what I wanted to major in. Not to mention, I was still heartbroken, so that was distracting. But about 6 months after Tommy and I broke up, I met this guy named Adam. And at first, I thought he was so sweet and genuine and funny. But I quickly learned that he came with a lot of baggage. That included he was on probation, he was an alcoholic, he had drug issues. During our relationship, he was in and out of jail, and our relationship itself was very on and off. But that relationship lasted for about a year. But during that relationship, my mom found out that her job was transferring her from Orange County to Fresno. And I could not handle that because that's about 5 hours away. And I've never been that far away from my mom. So that landed me in a situation where I was pretty much couch surfing for I don't even know how long. But with that going on and with my shitty relationship, I pretty much decided to end it all and just go to Fresno. But I started in Fresno with no friends and no idea what to do, and so I decided to go to Paul Mitchell. And there I got to reinvent myself and style the way I wanted to and have victory roles and go by Jessie instead of Jessica, since I was this new girl that nobody knew. I got to look and act and dress the way I wanted, and I got a lot of friends from that, well, acquaintances, and they admired my work and my talents, and it was really awesome. But I only really had a couple of friends, and even then I didn't really feel all too comfortable with them, and that made me really sad, and I felt really lonely. So I decided to join YouTube and hopefully become a part of that community, and I quickly fell in love. I was going to get my cosmetology license, but unfortunately I failed, and that left me heartbroken and totally confused. So I decided to change it up and go back to Orange County because I was so sad in Fresno. So I went back to Orange County and ditched Fresno. But with prices being so high down south and also just chaos, 6 months later I was back in Fresno. But by that time, my grandma had moved in with my mom and she took my old bedroom. So now I was sleeping on the couch once again, no idea what to do with my life, not to mention the fact that my grandma and I did not get along. But I started talking to this guy named Cody, and he was so freaking sweet, it's ridiculous. And he asked me out on a date, and I said yes. And then when I met him, I was like, oh my God, he's the one. He's just so damn handsome and respectful and such a gentleman, and I was just smitten. So I moved into my own apartment, and a couple of days later, somebody tried to break in, and it scared the crap out of me. So I told Cody, and he quickly moved in. And I was happy about that because I wasn't going to be alone, and not to mention he is super cute. Anyways, I made friends and more family, and I finally got licensed, and life was amazing. Everything was just working out beautifully. But then a month or two later, some guy tried breaking into the apartment again, only this time Cody was there and screamed, "Get the fuck out!" and scared the crap out of that guy, and so he took off. And I was just like, oh my God, you're so amazing, thank you, I don't know what had happened if you weren't here. And he was all proud of himself and all puffy chested and just like he was some macho man, and I was like, oh, my hero. Anyways, so one day my keys got lost, and it turns out that they were actually stolen because so was my car. So that morning when I found out that my car was stolen, I freaked out. I was like in hysterics, crying. I had no idea what to do. I felt so violated and so unsafe that I decided, screw that. We're moving out of this piece of crap apartment and moving into this really awesome apartment that we live in now. And I am so happy. Anyway, so here we are, a year and 3 months later. And one of the videos that I made a while ago that maybe you guys have watched, it's called How I Lost My Virginity. Well, anyways, that video pretty much took off and I got over 100,000 views on it. And with that, I've got over 2,000 subscribers so far, and it's just continuing to grow, and it blows my mind because with YouTube, I've met some really incredible people like Miss Dimple Darling. I've gone to her wedding and I've gotten in communication with Fat Girls Can Do It Too, and I became aware of all these awesome YouTubers like CTFXC and Vintage or Tacky and so many more YouTubers and amazingly creative people. And honestly, to just put it all out there, I kind of love YouTube more than I do salon work. And because of that, I'm hoping to make YouTube my career. So I'm kind of in the works of doing that, and here's hoping, fingers crossed, that that works out. But I just want to say I love you all. Each one of you means so much to me. You have no idea. And also, if you ever wanted to send me a message or anything like that, don't be afraid to. I do read and reply to messages. Just remember, I'm here for you because you're here for me. I love you, as cheesy as that sounds, and never forget that you are beautiful.